Hey guys, welcome to lesson 4.4, solving system. Oh, hey everybody, I forgot to say that. Welcome to this assignment where we're going to be solving systems of equations by elimination. And okay, so if you did the level 3 questions in our last video, specifically if you did like question 10, for example, was a good example of this. Question 10 on homework assignment 4.3. You're going to see why we want elimination. Elimination is good when you don't see x equals and y equals. If you do see x equals or y equals in one of your equations, then substitution is usually the way to go. But if you don't see it, I wanted to teach you about elimination. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so to solve a system of equations by elimination, I teach my students to ask themselves 3 questions. And we're going to say these questions over and over and over. Okay, so for question 1, let's use that. First question is everything lined up? Meaning, are your x's over your x's, are your y's over your y's, are your equals over your equals, and are your regular constants over your constants? Yes, they are. So we can move on to question 2. If not, we would have to spend some time fixing that. Question 2 is, do you see the same number, ignoring positives and negatives? Do you see the same number with the same letter? What that means is we look at our 2 x's here, and yes, we see 4's in front of them. Yeah, one of them's a negative 4. That's going to come up in the third question. But for now, just this idea that we see 4's in front of them is good. And we don't have them with y's, but that's okay. We only need one letter with the same number in front of it. Okay, so our x's have 4's in front of them. That's awesome. So then we can go to our third question. The third question is, do those same numbers, so our 4's, are they opposite signs? So do we have a positive 4 and a negative 4? And we do. If you can say yes to all 3 of those questions, what you're going to do is you're just going to add straight down. Okay? So I usually underline my equations just to make it easier to add. And we say, okay, how much is negative 4x plus 4x? Well, that's 0x. We just eliminated our x's. Then we have a negative 2y and a positive 8y. Well, if we add those together, we're going to get a 6y. Then negative 12 plus negative 24, well, that's negative 36. Oh, well, look, our x's are gone. We can solve that. That's like a box of doom question. Y is being multiplied by 6, so we could divide both sides by 6, and y equals, well, negative 36 divided by 6 is going to be negative 6. Y equals negative 6 is one of the answers to our equations. Now you've got a couple of options here. You have the other option now to eliminate the y, or eliminate the y's to solve for x, or we could simply plug back in. Why don't I don't know. I'm going to plug in. Okay? At this point, you can plug into, oh my gosh, sorry. Negative 6. We could plug this y here or here to find out our x. Or, kind of like we talked about in our last video, we could plug it in for both of them. If we plug it in for both and get the same number both times for our x value, that's one way to check our answer. So why don't we go ahead and do that? I'm going to start by plugging in negative 6 in for the top y. So I've got, oh my gosh, I need space. Sorry, I'm doing it over here. Negative 4x minus 2 times negative 6 equals negative 12. I can already tell this subtraction is going to give me a little bit of grief because I was trying to figure out, what do I do here? Okay, so I've got negative 4x plus negative 2 times negative 6. Well, that's just positive 12 equals negative 12. Okay, well, I'm going to set up my box of doom. X is being multiplied by negative 4, and x is being added by 12. Okay, so let's do the opposite stuff backwards. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So negative 4x equals, well, negative 12 minus 12 is negative 24. Divide both sides by negative 4. And x is going to equal a positive 6. Okay, so in theory, this is right. And again, lots of different ways to check your answers. One way is we could take this ordered pair. Oh my gosh, why do I keep doing that? We could take this ordered pair right here and plug it into both equations and make sure that it works in both equations. Or, why don't I take my y value? I already think I know what x is. I'm going to take my y value and plug it into the second equation just to see if I get the same x number. So 4x plus 8 times negative 6 equals negative 24. Okay, well, 8 times negative 6, I don't even know what that is. What is that? Negative 48 equals negative 24. Okay, now I've done this enough times, I know that when I come to write out my box of doom, things are about to get complicated, because x is being multiplied by 4 and then added by negative 48. Well, that just seems a little bit messy to me. So why don't I just go ahead and take this time to change the plus negative to just say straight out minus. Then in my box of doom I could just say, oh, okay, that's just being subtracted by 48. I want to do the opposite stuff backwards. So I'm going to add 48 to both sides. 4x is going to equal 24. And divide by 4, and x equals 6. Awesome, I got the exact same number for x. So I'm pretty sure I can be confident that I did that right. Okay, let me go ahead and erase and reset. Oh my gosh, where are we going to do all of our work? Okay, here we go, question 2. Well, yeah. We're going to go through the 3 questions again. First of all, is everything lined up? Yes, we have x's on our x's, y's on our y's, numbers on our numbers, equals on our equals. Do you see the same number with the same letter in both equations? Well, yeah, look at here. Our y's both have 4's with them. Okay, then are those 4's opposite signs? Well, totally. This is a positive 4, and this is a negative 4. Okay, so we can go ahead and underline and add straight down. 8x plus 2x is 10x. Positive 4y plus negative 4y is 0. Our y is eliminated. And 20 plus negative 10 is going to be 10. Divide both sides by 10, and x equals 1. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and plug in. Again, you could plug this into this x here, or this x, or the wise thing to do, in my opinion, is to plug it into both and see if we get the same y number both times, just to make sure we don't make a mistake. Let's start with the top equation. 8 times 1 plus 4y equals 20. Well, this is a box of doom question because we're going to have 8 plus 4y equals 20. So I'm solving for y, and y is being multiplied by 4 and added by 8. Let's do the opposite stuff backwards. I want to subtract 8 first. So 4y equals 12. Then divide both sides by 4. And y equals 3. Alright. Okay, so I think y equals 3, but just to double check, I'm going to plug into the bottom equation and see what happens there. So we've got 2 times 1, because I'm plugging in my x number to see if I get the same y. Oops, minus 4y equals negative 10. Okay, so then 2 minus 4y equals negative 10. Okay, this is a box of doom question again. And it's going to be helpful if we change it to say that y is being multiplied by negative 4 and then added by 2. Do the opposite stuff backwards. Subtract 2 from both sides, so negative 4y equals negative 12. Divide by negative 4, and y equals a positive 3 again. Okay, we've got the right answer there. And again, what this answer means is I could plug a 1 and a 3 into both of these equations, and it will give us the same number on both sides of those equations. Alright, I'm going to do the left column of these questions here. Okay, step 1, or question 1, is everything lined up? Yep, we've got x's, y's, equals, and numbers. Question 2, do we have the same number with the same letter? Well, it doesn't look like it with our x's, because this has a 1 and that has a 2, It doesn't totally look like it with our y's, but we need to remember with our y's that there are invisible 1s hanging out in front of the y's. So yeah, we do have 1s with our y's. And the third, question 3, are those 1s opposite signs? Well, yep, we've got a negative 1 on top and a positive 1 on bottom. Let's go ahead and add straight down. 3x and then negative 1y plus 1y eliminates, equals 30. Oh, I forgot to set this up. Here's our answer. Okay, so then divide both sides by 3, and x equals 10. Alright, we're on a roll. We know that x equals 10. We could plug that either into the top equation or the bottom equation, or I'm going to recommend that you plug it into both just to make sure you've got the right answers. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We've got 10 minus y equals 11. Okay, now this minus y thing throws me off as I'm trying to solve for y, so I'm going to recommend we change that to say plus negative y, and not only that, plus negative 1y, because then we know that y is being multiplied by negative 1 and added by 10. Let's do the opposite stuff backwards. Subtract 10 from both sides, so negative 1y equals 1. Divide by negative 1, and y equals negative 1. But I'm going to go ahead and plug in my x number into the bottom equation just to double check and make sure I get the same y number. So 2 times 10 plus y equals 19. That's 20 plus y equals 19. Subtract 20 from both sides, and y equals negative 1. Alright, there we go. There's our answer right there. Alright, question 5. See, is everything lined up? Yep, we've got x's, y's, equals, and numbers. Do we have the same number with the same letter? Well, not with our x's for sure, but we do for our y's. And the question is, are these opposite signs? Ooh, not yet. Okay, so we've encountered our first time when we can't answer the yes to all 3 questions. Now the way that we fix this is, you can pick either equation, it does not matter which one, and you can change all of the signs in one of the equations. So, it really doesn't matter which one, I'll just pick the top one. I'm going to make this a negative 7, a negative 2y, or you could even say minus 2y, whatever, and a negative 24. Now we do have a negative 2 and a positive 2, so we can add straight down. Well, negative 7x plus 8x is going to be 1x, or you could just write x if you're more comfortable like that. Negative 2y plus 2y is 0, and then negative 24 plus 30 is 6. Well, that was really nice when we go to fill in our answer, because we know that x equals 6. Okay, now you could totally erase and reset. You could leave those minus signs there. It does not matter. I'm going to just erase and reset so that it looks nice. I could plug this x into the top or the bottom, or both to be extra safe. Let's go ahead and plug it into both. And erase this stuff up here. Alright, so we're going to have 7. Oh no, these numbers are too big. Plus 2y equals 24. Okay, 7 times 6 was 42. Plus 2y equals 24. Okay, now I know I'm solving for y. It's being multiplied by 2 and added by 42. Okay, subtract 42 from both sides. Oh no, hold on, I need to get my calculator out. 24. You guys think I'm joking, I really am doing this because I am not good at this kind of math. 24 minus 42 equals negative 18. So 2y equals negative 18. Divide by 2, and y equals negative 9. Okay, and I mean, some of you are kind of lazy and will stop there, but I will not stop there. I'm going to double check my answers by plugging the 6 into the bottom equation to make sure I still get negative 9 for my y number. Okay, if you didn't, that means either you did something wrong solving for y, or maybe you even did something wrong solving for x. It's possible your x number would have been wrong. Okay, so 8 times 6 plus 2y equals 30. Ooh, 8 times 6 I think is 48. Plus 2y equals 30. subtract 48, subtract 48. 2y equals, I think that's also negative 18. Divided by 2, and y equals negative 9. Okay, we got the same answer. I think we're in good shape. Okay, now question 7. Okay, part 1. Is everything lined up? Yes. X's, y's equals numbers. Do you have the same letter with the same number? We don't. Because here I've got a 1x and a negative 4x. I've got a negative 3y and a 9y. Now you've got to fix that. Do you remember how in the last question we changed all of the signs we changed all of the signs in one of the equations? Same idea here. We can multiply every term in one of the equations by a single number. So you kind of want to look and see, okay, could I multiply, for example, could I multiply this invisible one? Let me draw it out. Could I multiply this 1 by something to get 4? And you totally can. It's also worth double checking. Could I multiply this 3 by a number to get 9? And you can also. Now, I think at that point, if you could do either one, you just pick one. Do you want to get rid of your x's by multiplying everything by 4? Or do you want to get rid of your y's by multiplying everything by 3? Either way will work. And in fact, I'll probably end up doing both just to give you an example. Okay, so I'm going to solve for x and solve for y. Why don't we go ahead and start by eliminating our x's. So, I need to multiply every single thing in this equation by 4. So that's going to give me 4x minus 12y. And then what most people forget is to multiply that last thing over there. That's negative 24. I'm going to temporarily kind of erase this for a second because I want to ignore it. So now we've got 4x and negative 4x. And hey, look, our third question is, do you have opposite signs for those two numbers? And we do. So we can go ahead and add straight down, ignoring that middle equation. So 9y plus negative 12y, because our x's eliminate, is negative 3y. 9 plus negative 24, oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know. Let me use my calculator. 9 plus negative 24 is negative 15. And I want to divide both sides by negative 3. And so that's telling me that y equals 5. Okay, now, let me point out, you have so many options at your disposal. We could plug this y into this top equation, or this equation. You could even plug it down here if you wanted to. You could plug it into all three to make sure you get the same x numbers. But what I'm going to do to find my x number, now this isn't a good way to check your answer, this is just a good way to find an answer, because we don't have an answer to check yet, is I'm going to go through that same process, but this time I'm going to eliminate my y's. So instead of multiplying everything by 4 like we did last time, I'm going to multiply this bottom equation by 3. So that's going to give me 3x minus 9y equals negative 18. Okay, and I'm going to totally ignore this equation for a minute. So now everything's lined up. We have 9's with our y's, and they are opposite signs, so we can go ahead and add straight down. Negative 4x plus 3x is negative 1x. Our y's eliminate, and we get negative 9. Divide both sides by negative 1, and x equals 9. There's an answer, and I can check it. And will I? Yes, let's check it. I always want to not check it because of time, but checking is so important even if you're short on time. So what we're going to do to check this time is I'm going to plug my 9 in for my x's and my 5 in for my y's in both equations. So let's start with the top one. Negative 4 times 9 plus 9 times 5 should equal 9. Well, negative 4 times 9 is negative 36. 9 times 5 is 45. And if I plug negative 36 plus 45 in my calculator, I do get 9. So that ordered pair did work with that top equation right there. Now I need to do the same thing with the bottom equation. 9 minus 3 times 5 should equal 6. 3 times 5 is 15, so 9 minus 15 should equal 6. And yep, 9 minus 5 does equal negative 6. So we're in good shape. This one was the right answer. Okay, let's go on to the back side. And which question do I want to answer for you here? I'm going to answer question 10. Okay, so I'm going to set up my doohickey here and go through the questions. Is everything lined up? Yep. X's, Y's, equals, numbers. And let me point out, I have challenges plotted into this level 3 set of questions. You will encounter all of them. So when you hit a wall that you feel like you don't understand, look at that box of help. Okay, everything's lined up. Do I have the same number with the same letter? Ooh, no, because I have 3 and 6 X, 4 and 8 Y. So we want to multiply. Well, we've got some options. So you want to ask yourself, okay, for my X's, could I multiply 3 by something to get 6? Well, totally, you could multiply it by 2. And then can you say, okay, so I got my Y's, could I multiply 4 by something to get 8? Well, yeah, I could multiply by 2, so it really seems like 2 is the way to go. I'm going to multiply everything in this top equation by 2. I'm going to actually write it down here because I don't have any space up there. So then I've got 6x plus 8y, and don't forget, people always forget to multiply that last thing over there, 24. Okay, I'm going to just kind of erase that for right now and just look here. Okay, do we have the same number with the same letter? Yeah, we've got 6 and 6. We've even got 8 and 8, which is awesome. Do we have opposite signs? Well, yeah, we do in both cases, which is great. We've got negative 6 and 6, negative 8 and 8. This really seems to be working out for us. So let's go ahead and add straight down. Well, negative 6x plus 6x is 0. Oh, negative 8y plus 8y is also 0. So we've got a 0 over here. Negative 14 plus 24 is a 10. Oh, no. Okay, so let's look. Everything did line up, so we're okay. Oh, we did eliminate. We're fine. We used elimination in it. No, that didn't happen. So, like, we don't care about these. You used elimination and end up with a different number on either side of the equal sign. Yes, that is what's happening here. This means that you are given equations for parallel lines, and therefore there is no solution. Okay, so there is no solution. Huh. If you remember back when we were doing graphs, again, we're trying to answer the question, where do these two lines cross? Well, if you have two parallel lines, they're never going to cross. So there is no answer, no ordered pair that is going to work for our equations. Okay? Now, I'm not going to spend the time to do that, but I just want to say, if you're still confused, take this top equation here and solve for y. Do the whole box of doom thing where it's multiplied by 4, added by 3x, and then you solve that top equation. If you do that, let me see if I can do it in my head really fast. That top equation could also be written as, let's see, y equals, oh my gosh, I'm doing this in my head, negative 3/4 x plus 3. Now if we also solve the bottom equation for y, let me see if I can do that in my head too. So that's going to be y equals, it's going to be, well, our y is going to be negative 6 over 8 x plus, it's like 14/8. Okay, well those don't look parallel because they have different slopes. That slope is not, wait. But this slope right here actually simplifies. 6/8 is the same as 3/4. So we do have the same slope, and not only that, we have different y-intercepts because 14/8 is going to be the same as 7/4. So we have the same slope and different y-intercepts. That is definitely a pair of parallel lines. Those are never going to cross each other because they're parallel. Okay, well I know that was a really long video. I'm kind of tired after making it, but hopefully it was helpful. So remember to go through those 3 questions when you go through this problem. When you encounter issues here on the back, make sure you use this box. It's going to give you a lot of helpful stuff. And I'll see you guys later.